Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about Daredevil by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, the Ultimate Collection, Volume 3. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're going to talk about more Daredevil. Now, this is the Ultimate Collection by Bendis and Maleev, Volume 3. It collects issues 66 to 81, as well as a What If Karen Page Had Lived, and the Ultimate Marvel Team-Up 6, 7, and 8. So those don't really have anything to do with the Daredevil story. They're just more Daredevil stories told by Bendis around the same time that this was coming out. Sorry, I had a little hiccup there. But, man, I really liked how this wrapped up. I really thought this was cool. It ends very strong, and I really like the framing of it. The first couple issues are like there's an old mob boss who was talked about at the end of Volume 2. He comes back, and you find out that, early on when Matt was wearing the yellow outfit, he went up against this mob boss and kind of took him down, but at the same time, he wanted Matt Murdock to be his lawyer. But this guy's getting out of prison years later, and the Kingpin used to work for him, so he thinks he's hot shit. And because now that the Kingpin's gone, he can take back his old territory, 15, 20 years later, who knows how long it's been. But that's a fun little interesting story. Then we jump to this story called Decalogue, which I found really, really cool. It's kind of like that Batman the Animated Series episode where you have all the villains talking in this like speakeasy bar, telling their different stories about them encountering Batman and how they almost got him or something like that. It's that same type of idea but this is a Daredevil support group, or like Daredevil Ruined My Life support group in the bottom of a church. And you're reading issue by issue as you get different tales of Daredevil interacting with the regular people of Hell's Kitchen and how he, helped them or caused problems with them by crashing through their window, things like that. And then you kind of slowly realize they're all connected until all of a sudden you realize that you're sitting in the midst of basically like a showdown between Daredevil and this villain whom he's chasing. It just ended up in this support group, and then Daredevil has to stand up and kind of explain himself, and at the same time save everybody. So that was kind of an interesting thing to see again. And then finally we have the wrap-up storyline here. Again, like I said in the other videos, they don't tell you what the name of the storyline is. I know Decalogue is called Decalogue because it literally says Decalogue Part 3 as part of the covers, as opposed to, I think the other ones are on the previously pages, which aren't included in these volumes, but you do get the covers, so those are very nice. But Wilson Fisk here is, like, the way Bendis wrote Fisk here to how Fisk trapped Matt Murdock and Daredevil into this predicament where he has to go, basically he ends up in prison at the end of the volume, and that's not really a spoiler because Brubaker's Run picks up with that. So if you've heard about Brubaker's Run, you might know that already, but how he does it is really ingenious. Basically, Kingpin's going around saying, I know who Matt Murdock is and I can prove it. I have this thing called the Murdock Papers, and since everything leaks like a sieve in the government, word gets around, word gets back to Murdoch, to Elektra, to Bullseye, who are all going after the papers at the same time as the FBI because they're stored off site, right? So you have this showdown between everybody, and then it kind of all falls apart in a way that's pretty much ingenious. And Kingpin ends up using Ben Urich. Like, he tells the FBI that he's not going to tell a story unless Urich's there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then when it all falls apart, he basically points the finger at Ben Urich and says, you have to tell the FBI and confirm that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, or else you're investigating, obstructing justice and stuff. And it's just a really cool twist when you read it I was like dumbfounded. I don't remember that going down that way. So that when it happens, because you've had basically since the first volume, Ben Urich standing up for Matt Murdock and saying that he's not Daredevil, even though he knows he is. He's trying to help Matt in a little bit of a way, and he's still feeling really guilty about it as a journalist, so that when this situation comes, it's a big gut punch to the reader and to Ben in such a way that you're like, oh, that is a cool moment. So this wrapped up really, really well. There's 3 great stories in here. Definitely recommend it if you have read the other 2 volumes. Bendis' run is one of the legendary runs on Daredevil, and it's cool to see why, especially with this final volume. What if Karen Page had lived storyline is it's not a storyline, it's just a single issue. It's fine, it's okay. I think Michael Lark is drawing it. One of the other regular, yeah, that's got to be Michael Lark, because he does take over for Daredevil with Brubaker. Then the Ultimate Marvel team up stuff is a little like, it's kind of meh. I mean, it's Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Daredevil, Ultimate Punisher, and it's very little of Spider-Man, very little of Daredevil, in fact, and more about the Punisher than anything else. I think it's Bill Sienkiewicz on art, so if you're a Sienkiewicz fan, that is where to go find that. But otherwise, you know, I would say I think it's Sienkiewicz. That's what I'm assuming, because he's not credited. Like, even Michael Lark's not credited in the What If issue. The only person that shows up as artist in the front here is Alex Maleev, who I know does all the Daredevil issues. I can recognize his style, but that's definitely not Alex Maleev here. And this stuff's got to be, like, I would bet my life that this is Bill Sienkiewicz at the time. And I'm not really a big Sienkiewicz fan, honestly, so I could take or leave this Ultimate Marvel team-up story, but if you want to finish it out, read it, go ahead. But if you want to just stop at the end of the Maleev stuff with the kind of the handoff to Ed Brubaker, stop there, and you still will have a very enjoyable trade paperback. So there you guys go. That's my final review for the Bendis Maleev collection of Daredevil. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this run down in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.